This is the San Francisco 49ers Report live here on Chat Sports. It's day 2 of the 2023 NFL Draft, and the 49ers have made their first selection. And it's a player who in a couple of my mock drafts I had going to the San Francisco 49ers, considering the player that he is and the importance of getting a safety and a long-term running mate to Talanoa Hufanga. With the 87th overall pick, after a trade-up for the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers have taken Ji'Ayir Brown, the safety out of Penn State. We'll get to the trade details, and honestly, I really like the trade details because the Niners didn't have to give up much for a player who they clearly really covet to move all the way up to 87 in the third round to take him in Ji'Ayir Brown. Solid size at that safety position, 5'11", 203 pounds. According to our NFL draft expert, Tom Downey, he had him ranked as the 4th best safety. And get this, the 87th overall player in this draft class, and Ji'Ayir Brown goes to the 49ers at pick number 87. Now, the Niners had to move up a few spots in order to take Ji'Ayir Brown. Previously, they were equipped with 99, 101, and 102 in the third round. Now they trade 102 to move up to 87. They trade a 5th round pick at 164 and a 7th round pick at 222 to move up to 87 to take Ji'Ayir Brown. This is a player who I coveted. This is a player who I really liked. And San Francisco clearly very, very intrigued by him. Otherwise, they would have stood pat with some good players on the board and they would have taken whoever fell to them. Instead, they like what Ji'Ayir Brown brings to the table, and I'm in agreement with this front office, a front office who I've disagreed with in the past. So with that, today's poll question is this. The 49ers finally on the board here in the draft. Do you like the trade? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Now, in my mock drafts, I've talked about Ji'Ayir Brown because a lot of people disagree and they don't like some of his physical attributes or the lack thereof. But this is a classic case of a player who I happen to really like because of what he shows on film, the instincts in which he plays with, the headiness that he has in between the ears, and the knack for making big plays. And you brought back Deshaun Gibson on that 1-year contract. Talanoa Hufanga, as a former 5th round pick, was an all-pro last year. You need to find a long-term running mate to Hufanga with that Polynesian power for a few years moving ahead into the future. And Ji'Ayir Brown can be that guy. Last year with Penn State, 74 tackles, 4 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. What that shows you is that he has versatility to his game as a guy who can play on the back end. He can play in the box. He can play normal safety. He can line up in the slot. He can sack the quarterback. He's good against the run, but he has this instinctual element to his game, which I happen to really, really like. And you can use him as a chess piece on this defense. Talanoa Hufanga offers the same type of attributes. A chess piece who we saw last year. This is a big reason why he was an all-pro. You can put him anywhere on the football field, and he can be impactful. And I think in today's offensive-laden era in the National Football League, where you have to counter what offenses are doing with spacing, with 4 wide receiver sets, you need defensive players who can offer you a little bit of everything. And now you have that with your 2 safeties moving ahead into the future in Ji'Ayir Brown and Talanoa Hufanga. We're only getting started here on the show, and if you're watching this right now, the Niners still have a couple of picks here at the tail end of the 3rd round. We'll be talking about those. Keep it locked here on the channel. But first, today's show is sponsored by ZBiotics. I got to be honest, after y'all hit me with a bunch of super chats, I don't bounce back great the next day because I'm 31 years old now, right? But that is until I found out about ZBiotics. ZBiotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic and the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking, and here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration. That's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down, and it's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it the most. Drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol. Of course, as always, please drink responsibly. And with that, you get a good night's sleep, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Give ZBiotics a try for yourself by heading to zbiotics.com/chatsports to get 15% off your first order, but you have to use the code ChatSports at checkout. It is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you are unsatisfied for any reason, you will get your money back, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the code ChatSports at checkout for 15% off your order. If you're looking for something that's going to allow you to bounce back very, very quickly the next day, ZBiotics is where it's at. Promo code ChatSports. Let's go back to Ji'Ayir Brown here. Our scouting report on him. Really good ball skills, as I talked about. Very, very good production, especially in 2022. Now, I'm not biased because I grew up in Pennsylvania, rooting on Penn State. But let me be honest here. I think that the Penn State Nittany Lions have done as good of a job as any program in the country of developing players into becoming very good, high-level pro talent. And oftentimes their players are very ready to play. And I believe that Ji'Ayir Brown is one of those players. Great ball skills and production. He's an effective blitzer who isn't afraid to hit. Some Niner fans were really enticed by the idea of trading for Budda Baker. He would have cost about $15 million this upcoming year. So now you get Ji'Ayir Brown. He is not the player of Budda Baker, right? But he is a player who you can use in a very versatile way like Budda Baker. Once again, think chess piece here for San Francisco. Good instincts. He does have a lack of athleticism that could hurt him at the next level, but let's be real. Talanoa Hufanga by no means was a spectacular athlete, but what makes Talanoa Hufanga a very good player? What makes Hufanga a great player is the fact that he is a very instinctual player. Here's what the Athletics' Dane Brugler had to say about Ji'Ayir Brown. Brown must introduce more discipline and body control in his play, but he is a physical presence versus the run with the anticipation and ball skills, right? Think about ball skills. It's really important in today's pass-happy era to really be good in coverage. He has the football character and skill set of an interchangeable starting safety at the next level. And I think that he's going to be able to start here very, very quickly for San Francisco. Obviously, you're going to want Tashaun Gipson and Talanoa Hufanga ideally to most likely be your starters at that safety spot. But as we pivot into the future, that's where Ji'Ayir Brown comes in. So grade the pick, A, B, C, D, or F. Let us know what you think about this selection of Ji'Ayir Brown. And as you venture down there, please make sure you subscribe to the show for the best Niners coverage out there. We grind our asses off to give you the best Niners coverage on YouTube with videos coming your way every single day. We got the Jerry Rice. Now we're looking to get to Terrell Owens with 81,000 subscribers. So more on Ji'Ayir Brown here. With Manny Diaz running that scheme at the Penn State college program, he was able to use Ji'Ayir Brown in a couple of different ways as a guy who could really just line up anywhere on that defense. And I think with Steve Wilks coming in, he's going to envision Ji'Ayir Brown as that type of player. You look at his combine pre-drafting testing numbers that will pop up here. It's not like he ran, and this is Sidney Brown here, who you can make the comparison to. Two Big Ten safeties, right? Sidney Brown, Cam Chancellor type of player. 4.47 40-yard dash. But I think that Ji'Ayir Brown is the more instinctual player than Sidney Brown. He didn't run a 4.47 40-yard dash, but I think that when you turn on the tape, you look for players who have this type of great feel for the game, and that's why I like Brown. So you look at the 49ers draft profile here. They didn't make a pick in round 1 of the NFL draft because of that trade up for Trey Lance. They have 11 picks here, and now it's 10 after this trade up for Brown. San Francisco lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game. But you look here to my right, some of the draft needs for the Niners. Offensive tackle, certainly one of them, but there was a run on offensive tackles in the second and third round. And then safety was a massive need, tight end and edge rusher. You get that safety. Now with Ji'Ayir Brown, I happen to really like the pick. You look at the top offensive tackles available as of this recording. It's 10:44 Eastern, 7:44 p.m. Pacific. DeJuan Jones still there. Nick Saldiveri still there. Jalen Duncan and Blake Freeland. I had Ji'Ayir Brown and Blake Freeland to the Niners here in my final mock draft heading into day 2. Blake Freeland is still in play. He traded with Joe Staley. Top safeties available. You no longer need a safety here, right? You have Antonio Johnson, J.L. Skinner, Jordan Battle, Jamie Robinson. I think you're content, obviously, with Brown here. You could go tight end. Josh Wiley, good player who we've talked about. Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion. He can block for you and catch some passes. Davis Allen out of Clemson. And then Cameron Latou, a player who I also really, really like, out of Alabama, who's a physical freak. Niners could go edge here to find a future edge rusher opposite of Nick Bosa, Colby Wooden, Yasir Abdullah, Isaiah McGuire, Nick Hampton, some players to keep an eye out here for San Francisco as they're once again on the board in a couple of picks. So with that, let's ask you this. Who do you want the Niners to draft next? Let us know down in the comment section. We're live right now. Make sure you join us, and if you're not, you ain't alive. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us.